One of the disturbing things about BC's immediate roadside prohibition scheme is that the police use the scheme to make warrantless searches of vehicles. So in Canada, if the police pull you over and it's a lawful stop, they can make a demand for you to blow into a roadside breath tester, an approved screening device. Everybody who's subject to a lawful demand has to blow. Police officer pulls you over, you have to provide a sample. Now, if you blow a sample and you blow a fail, in the rest of Canada, you're likely facing an arrest. But in British Columbia, you're probably just going to get issued an immediate roadside prohibition. That's pursuant to the Motor Vehicle Act, and that's the end of it. And usually the police know at that point. They know before they've even pulled you over whether or not you've had one before, and they know at that point whether or not they're going to be issuing you an IRP. And I'll tell you, most of the time, if they see you driving away from a private liquor store, they've already decided in their mind that that's the route that they're going. Now, it starts off with a criminal code demand. And if it was to lead to an arrest, the police are entitled in law to conduct a search of the surrounding area to look for evidence. So that's very often a brief search of the interior of the person's car. But in IRP cases, there's never going to be a criminal charge, and it's never going to go further than the IRP at the roadside. At most, the person might provide another sample before that car is towed away and impounded for 30 days if it's a fail on an approved screening device, and the person is issued the IRP. But the police will do this. They'll say, oh, okay, I'm arresting you now for driving with a prohibited blood alcohol concentration. Do you understand? And then they'll search the person's car, and then they'll say, oh, you know what? I've changed my mind. I'm not going to arrest you anymore. I'm just going to issue you an IRP. You have a right to a second sample on a second device if you want. And so the search of the car is basically just a pretense, right? They know that they're not going to be charging the person. They know they're going to be issuing the person an IRP. There's no reason to go search the vehicle. We see this very often. We see very often the police will come, they'll pull somebody over, and during the course of the IRP investigation, while the police officer is having the person provide a sample, some other police officers will go and search the vehicle, incidental to arrest, when there's no arrest. And this is, again, one of those things that we see the government taking steps to try and sort of erode our rights as drivers on the roadside, to take away our rights. They stick it in their own tribunal where there's never going to be a remedy for this type of thing happening. And people end up with their car searched, and the police end up with these extraordinary powers that are completely unchecked. Really strikes me as inappropriate.